Welcome CNG 124 to the Monday Kickoff video. The discussions, great work. As you're seeing, this course presents new material, and it's like tough to wrap your head around. It's difficult to process the new information, but keep practicing at it. As we progress through the course contents, I know a few people mentioned OSI layers being difficult to take a look at, or basically to dissect what they are. We start looking at, not really this week, but as we start to move on, we start to look at specific individual layers of the OSI and TCP/IP model. Yes, this one's looking at the physical layer. So don't be freaking out if you're not getting this. You will. It's best to show you what's coming, and then we're going to work on it as a smaller chunk to get through that eating of the elephant. That's done one bite at a time. But let's see. Good work on the discussions. Good work on the homework. Activities are going well. Keep doing those. Make sure that in week 2 you also did the NetAcad Quiz 3. That is a graded assignment, or it's for participation to keep being a Cisco Academy. I will start to bug you individually if you haven't done that. So make sure you do that Quiz 3 in NetAcad very, very soon, or get on top of it and do it in the future. Let's see. We work with, we finished Chapter 7, get into IPv4 addressing. The biggest wraparounds, this video is going to be longer too. The biggest wraparound in this week is trying to learn how to identify Class A, B, and C addresses. When we take a look at these, there are specific values that have to do with making the address a specific class, and understanding that what the value is helps us prepare for the future of moving on to the next piece of coursework. As we see, 1 to 126 is a Class A. This is a 10, so it goes into Class A territory. 128 to 191 is a Class B. So once again, that's just looking at this front part, and decoding, I guess if you'd call it, that part. 192 is a Class C, so it went from A, B to C. And where did I learn this? I learned this in the slides for this week. Classful addressing will definitely clear this up a little bit. Classful addressing does start to explain that certain parts of the network belong to the network portion of the address. So some parts cannot change, and that has to do with exactly what type of classful IP address this is. So whether it's A, B, or C signifies how much goes to the network, and then how much belongs to the host portion. There's one more, So one more piece that you could practice with is writing down the network address by figuring out the IP address, and then the subnet mask, and coming up with the network address. But once you get to this point, you can start to identify what belongs to the network and what belongs to the host. When we look at classful addressing, we see that this is a Class B. So this first part, or the second part, or the first octet and the second octet belong to the network, so it has to be reflected in the subnet mask. Here is a different circumstance. We have a Class A, and then we see it having a 255, 255, 255. So if we look at this, this is identifying to us that these three are the network portion of the address, while this back part is the host portion. So sometimes it takes a little looking at. I would also guess that this is a internal address, not private, but public. Or I'm sorry, private IP address, not public, and that's used on the inside of the network. And if we check that, the 10 dot should be in the private address range. With that, make sure to go to the table of contents. Ooh, excuse me. Go to the table of contents, look over the slides, and if you want to have the slides open while you're working through this week, it'll definitely help you out a lot more in understanding the classes and then the private addresses also. The prefix will always be how many bits you're using, the total number of bits. Class A, 1 to 126, B, 128 to 191, C, 192 to 223, D, 224 to 239, E, 240 to 255. ANDing is how they're getting the network address. The private addresses, once again, are addresses that are used inside the network, within a LAN. And once again, they have to be a specific number in between a specific range in order to work. Blocked by ISPs, we'll talk about that a little further down the road. They're not necessarily blocked, but they're translated to a different IP address as it leaves your internal network. And that's it. Have a good video, and I'll check back.